From One of One Production Studio, located in Fort Lee, New Jersey, this is The Art of Music Tech. And now, here's your host, Fela and Dennis.
Let's go, and welcome to the Art of Music Tech podcast. I'm your host, Fela, co-host Dennis, and today,
hey guys,
our featured person, Miss Alyson Williams. Hey, Miss Alyson Williams.
Welcome.
Thank
the
you.
singer extraordinaire. I was out on tour with her all through the summer in Europe. A couple weeks ago, we did Monterey together.
Mm-hmm.
An amazing singer.
Thank you.
I love working with you. Your vocals. I mean, I just turn them up. I just turn up the gain and move on.
Well, I'm glad that I'm able to make your job easier.
Oh,
Yes.
Because you certainly make mine a joy.
Oh.
There's nothing like being working with the people on the tech end of it. You know what I'm saying? Front of house and monitor, and they get you, and they know how to enhance you. They know how to give you the support you need as
Yes,
a vocalist
definitely.
to project your sound, and when you don't have to worry about it, and you can hear. And
thank
the
you.
downside of that is when you come home off the road and you go back to your
club
your
gig.
club gig, and you're like, oh, come on, are you serious?
I know.
But I really, we had a great time.
Yes.
We played a variety of different types of venues, which was interesting.
Yes. Amphitheaters,
Amphitheaters,
theaters,
to small
clubs.
festivals, to pop-up risers in the middle of a square, in the middle of the town square, and the whole town came
where was
out.
that? Where? What city? Remember?
Oh, wow.
Not Set. Set was the city before Set.
Yeah.
Maguinier, was it
it was France.
Monsegur.
Yeah,
Our
France.
first date, it was Monsegur, and it was the town center, kind of like, and they put up a really wonderful riser with great lights and great
Yeah, it
sound.
was
okay.
a mobile stage.
It
It,
lit-
was
yeah.
basically, it was
Yeah.
moved by a truck.
By truck, right.
But
Wow.
but the truck went away and it
And it
just
left.
left it back and it opened up. Yeah,
I've
yeah,
seen
that
those.
was-
I've seen
Yeah,
those.
that was
Okay.
a cool gig.
Yeah, but it was so well
Dance.
done.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
so well
Next level.
Yeah. Everybody had such a great time. Yeah, that was a good show. People were dancing. Yeah, that was the first
We had a
show.
great show.
Yeah. That was the whole tour. And so last episode we had on Patrice Rushen.
Oh,
from
should
The
we make sure that
Situation.
everyone who supports you, we're talking about a Christian McBride
Right,
situation,
situation,
European
exactly.
tour. I am
Yes.
part of the situation.
Yes, you are.
And
But Alyson, you have also enjoyed a solo career.
have.
You've enjoyed quite
I have.
a few decades. I mean, that's a good thing.
Don't
No,
tell nobody.
I know.
I'm not worried about the decades. I don't want to turn around and say, wait a minute, she's been here on the line twice. She's ridden this ride so many times. Get her out of here. Eject her from the park.
Oh no!
Nope, I keep getting on and riding the front. Then I ride the back. I go at night,
I mean, yeah, that's the way to do it. You are a true professional in this, and I
Still
respect
is.
that. Just
You know,
going out there and just doing
It's
it.
been over. I always count my professional year. I counted from the age of 16. Although I was performing before that as a dancer, professionally with the Marie Brooks Children's Dance Company, with the Junior Company of Dance Theater of Harlem, and working and training with many different people. So that was really my first, platform that I wanted to go ahead and explore. But my father was a jazz trumpet player,
Yeah,
and he had
I
a
was reading
21-piece
that.
swing band, Bobby Booker. So I was singing big band swing music as a kid, which will mess you up for life in your teenage years, because, well, what it is that when you come into a mature level of music like that, and then you're hanging out with your friends, your peers, and they're all about the Jackson 5, and then you want to talk about Ella Fitzgerald, they're like, you know what? We're really going to put her out of the club. So it's kind of almost like being a nerd.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Where
yeah.
everybody else is in, I want to go to the club, and you want to do technical stuff, or you have a STEM
Exactly,
project you want to
yeah,
work
they
on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, but what it does is that it prepares you for everything you need in your future. And I'm so thankful to have had come into it through jazz, unlike a lot of my my peers and a lot of my contemporaries who came in the church. I came around through jazz, and then I found R&B, and then I found gospel, and then I found everything else, and the house and the pop and all of that. So I consider myself a multi-genre artist because I sing all different formats of music authentically.
Yeah. Isn't that the best feeling ever? I've had the conversation with Jeff Bova, just being in the middle of a big band.
Bova.
Yeah, he's
You know
been
Jeff?
you know Jeff? Yeah.
From way back.
We were talking about
Before there were records, before we all, everybody had a record deal or had been working, because he was with Change and the BBQ people with the Fred Prethers, and I was with High Fashion, and we all played places like the Cellar and things like that.
So you appreciate as well as him just the feeling of being in the middle of a live band.
Real music.
Real, you feel it, you feel the breaths, you feel them really
When I
working
first
on it.
had my first experience with a rhythm section where I was singing with them, I was sitting in the room and I was nervous because I hadn't really sung a lot of commercial R&B music, and I'd learned Evelyn Champagne King, Shame. That was my first song. And later, years later, I ended up singing background on a couple of albums for her. But it was so funny because I kept looking, going, where's the rest of the band? It was 6 pieces. It was a rhythm section, and I think we had a keyboard, an extra, we had a conga player, and there was a singer, another male singer. So it was a nice full band. But I'm looking for reed instruments. I'm looking for
trombones to
I'm
hold
looking for
the middle.
I'm going to need some brass, and I'm going, however is this going to happen?
Yeah.
But you know what? It did.
Yeah, it did.
It did.
You made it happen too.
I guess I did,
Yeah.
and I've been trying to make it happen ever since. Fast forward from my early days, and as a dancer and singing, and like I said, I counted from being 16 when I was really able to leave the house at night and go to the gig, and my parents were like, "Okay, we know we'll see you after 2." And
16. Wow.
Right, and but they knew I knew it. I got it. I was out of high school at 16.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I started college a year early. Well, actually, I was making up for lost time, but that's another interview. I started out early, and then certain things get in the way, like school rules. Oh, she's too young. She can't start now. She's got to go to. So the whole time, I was destined for acceleration, but they kept putting on the brakes. Yeah. But anyway, I was glad. I had a great experience coming up because I always had my father taking me to places like the Newport Jazz Festival and being on the bandstand, being the book girl. That's what I did, and then graduated obviously into singing that music and being around great musicians that have made their mark and have left legacy, like Dickie Wells and Irving Taylor and who else? Earl Father Hines. And I mean, these are names of people. You have to go back and Google them because they are from eras past, but I was so glad to be in their presence. Honey Coles and just all these people that were really part of the Harlem Renaissance.
Yeah, as I had to say, so these are all Harlem artists. Like Harlem, this is very New York.
Definitely a New York Harlem experience. And that, like I said, it prepared me to be able to be a young person with a young band out there, being given the blessings of my parents to go and make a way for myself. Yeah. And here I am. So I look around and know that it's been over, if I'm 58 now, and I started when I was 16, on the, really getting paid and going out for my own gigs. That's a long time to stay in the game. And it started with being no one. Or no one recognizable to being someone in the top of the Billboard charts. Do you know what I'm saying? It takes a long time to make all those moves. So now being out with Christian is a part of my resurgence. I've been lucky to put out music that has stood the test of time. Singles like Just Call My Name have... are still being played and still being enjoyed by the fan base of my original fan base as well as new people who are beginning to know.
In Europe, people were screaming out.
Oh my God, they were bringing their records and stuff, and they really know. And the kids of the people who are now parents to these children are like, oh no, I know your music because my parents played it. And at first, I was a little like salty, and then I was like,
no, that's celebration of your art. Yeah,
still here and relevant to another generation. So
exactly,
all of those things all of those things, like I said, have helped me on the journey. We're celebrating, going out of 2019, I'm celebrating, I think it's the 26th year, I can't even count now, of the first CD on Def Jam, because I'm the first female artist signed to Def Jam.
So you were signed by Russell Simmons, right?
Yeah, we all did that.
Right,
We picked all those
fantastic.
colors and all those logos and all those labels.
Oh, you were in the room. You were right there.
They
Okay.
asked my opinion.
Wow.
Mine, no cornerstone type stuff.
Wow.
So, I was there in the official first class.
Yeah.
In the inaugural class. So,
Right.
it really it's great to be able to say that.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and to know that everything led up to that is still part of my legacy. All the hip hop. Before we had the terminology hip hop, we had rap music.
Which,
And at the top of that was Curtis Blow.
Exactly.
And
But
then
you gotta
I
get
met
into
Curtis,
that.
and Curtis, we became thick as thieves, and I became his hook girl. So when you hear songs like "We're playing basketball" and "If I Rule the World," all that kind of
hey
stuff.
now.
AJ Scratch. Let's see, games people play, games females play, all these great rap songs.
Yes, that were
was me.
resampled. Then I'm hearing it later thinking, oh no, that's Lauryn Hill. I'm not
that's
even
Alyson
knowing.
Williams.
That's Alyson Williams, just
It
yeah.
happened to me. I already told Patrice Russian it happened to me, and I didn't even know.
Yeah.
Now I do.
Right,
Yeah,
so-
especially basketball. I knew that If I Ruled the World, I knew that was somebody else. But I was in the 90s, so there was no Google.
Right, there was no way to research it.
And
It was just coming at you.
It was Encyclopedia Britannica. Who could
Nate,
afford
what was the app on the phone?
Yeah, there was
Right.
no
Shazam.
Yeah, there was no
Shazam.
Shazam or
Right, there was no
SoundHound
SoundHound for you to get it.
find to like. Now I appreciate you can go back to the original. I knew it was sampled, but it was like, how can I find?
How can you find it?
Where?
Who?
Who? It's like
I just recently had someone help me compile my discography of my rap world, my rap life, and it's almost a dozen or more songs.
Oh, wow.
And there were things that I didn't remember I did.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Because we were doing it so fast, and some of it was in house. I'd be doing something for Curtis, and then Big Daddy Kane would be doing something for me, and then we'd put me over here on this. So it was, it was moving very fast.
How many sessions a day?
Oh man, we could go in the studio, and we used to use a place called Green Street, down on Green Street. I just recently was in touch with the head engineer there, who actually, I think Roddy Way. Shout out to Roddy Way.
Shout out.
Roddy. I think he's the one who engineered and mixed almost every song that I had while I was at Def Jam Sony. You know what I'm saying? And it was, most of them were recorded in Green Street. There were some other things around, but then there were other studios around. We had major studios, Media Sound. It was Green Street. There was.
That's the height of studios.
Oh yes,
now.
darling.
Everybody had a studio.
Media.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's a totally different world compared to what it is now. But that was like,
that is why, as an artist, and I know we spoke a little earlier about
Yes.
talking about this topic, I am accustomed to a certain surrounding, and I require that when I go into the studio. And I don't like to come off like, oh, well, she's a diva, she's Alyson Williams, so she don't want to go in the kitchen and while we stand on the balcony and mix her on the laptop like this. I'm okay. I get that things are done digitally, and so things are shrunken down, and it's a garage, and it's a band, garage band. Boom! I get all of that.
It exists, actually.
I get it. I know. I get it. But for me, it's a difficult journey because I'm accustomed to having a certain kind of surrounding, a certain kind of sound in a vocal booth, a playback that's right there. I don't have to step outside and go all the back. I just want y'all to play it back. That way I can hear it, retain it, and fix it. You know what I'm saying? I was made a lot of my bones being a background vocalist. And I sang background vocals on Melba Moore's stuff, Kashif stuff, Lilo Thomas stuff, Bobby Brown stuff.
Yeah.
It just, the list goes on and on.
Bobby Brown.
Bobby Brown
specifically
was
with Bobby
Bobby
Brown?
Brown was produced one time by who's the lead of Cameo?
Oh man,
Y'all know who I'm talking about.
Yes,
I,
I
can't call his
do
name
now.
right now.
Yeah,
They're coming. I can
yeah.
see him with the high top
It's
fade and
that
everything.
fade, exactly.
But they Google Cameo.
Yeah.
Anyway, he was produced by the leader and founder of Cameo, and there was a song called "Girl Next Door," and he brought me in to sing "Girl Next Door." It was a radio. It had some radio time. It wasn't probably as big as My Prerogative.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I worked on one of Bobby's earlier albums, solo albums.
Oh.
And so I did, I had a lot of opportunity to go in and hone my craft. And like I said, I'm just a person now who, when you come to me with a track or come to me with a song and say, we're going to go in the studio, I hope that we have a studio.
Yeah.
I've got to,
not a bedroom and you go in the bathroom. We're going to be,
you
fit
the
a
shower.
tarp over
Just stand in the shower. It's the best acoustic
Larry
ever.
Blackman.
Yes, Larry Blackman.
Larry Blackman.
Larry
is
Blackman.
the bass
Shout
player.
out Larry Blackman.
Yes.
The funkster himself.
Yes.
So that was a great experience. And like I said, I prefer, people often ask me, do I prefer performing live as opposed to the studio? I like them both because they have their own fun elements.
Environment.
Yes, I always recorded at night. I never knew what time it was. I just knew I'd go in and it might have been 6 and it was just getting dark, or it could be 6 in the summer, it'd be light. But when I came out, it'd be light again. I always remember going in and doing all the singing and then laying in front of that couch that would always be in front of the console, because that's how studios were. There's the big console and there's a couch, and that today I can sleep anywhere with any amount of noise, because I could sit there while they did a full mix and just knock out. So music was my comforter. I think that as I enjoy both of them equally, I think that there's a difference. For instance, I prefer to be in a full-fledged studio than in a promo studio, a pre, the pre-studio.
Yeah,
stage.
pre-production.
Pre-production
Yeah, I
stage.
mean, but that's
It's
usually
necessary.
in somebody's apartment. That's
Right,
always
and I
something.
know it's
yeah,
necessary,
yeah.
but for the final, for me to feel like I did what I needed to do and could hear myself optimally and what have you, I'd rather go into
I mean, if
really
you don't
great
have the
studio.
full setup, I mean, you can do those setups there, but usually if you're in that setup, you have no idea how to properly do that setup. So it's kind of, it's
Yeah, because that comes with its own challenges. Now,
Yeah.
when it comes to live performance, people will say, what's your preference? Do you like big arenas or do you like small, intimate clubs? I like anything from a small, intimate club to the middle. I like big arenas. I've had the opportunity to play places like Madison Square Garden. I've played Wembley Arena. I've seen thousands of people, and it was fun.
Yeah.
But I often wondered, had I touched everybody? They said they'd had a good time, but I couldn't. I didn't know if I could. I
Well-
really had, and unfortunately, I hadn't had enough opportunities on that level. So what we're putting into the universe now is that, Lord, send some more arenas so I can figure if I really like them.
I know, right? Well,
Let's
that
go.
Have some hit music.
That
and let's
last
go.
show in Italy, Umbria, that was over 10,000.
Oh, yeah.
So that you had them rocking.
Right, and that was one of the places I was going back to. It was great because I had been to London and lived in London for a while. I mean, I got my first gold record came from Columbia. UK.
Yeah, okay.
For the Raw album. So Paris was a return trip, and Umbria was a return, and Nice, and Umbria was a return trip. So Umbria Jazz Festival is the bomb diggity.
Yes.
It's incredible.
I had some footage if you guys want to check it out on our 23DB pages on Facebook and IG. So you go from, we're in the 80s and 90s, you're doing all the hip hop stuff, and that's like end of the 80s.
No, the hip hop stuff was early. The hip hop stuff came between 82, like in the 80s.
Okay, because basketball,
82,
Curtis
and then
Blow
around
and that.
88, I was signed to Def Jam.
Okay.
86 is when Russell started
R&B.
talking about it. And then
Okay.
I got signed to the rap label and given an R&B contract. And so the first CD came out, it was 86 we got signed, finally got the record done. We started putting music out in about 88.
Yeah.
And then Just Call My Name hit in 89. We had hits with Sleep Talk and Raw, which were New Jack
Sleep
Swing,
Talk.
hip hop
Yeah,
stuff. But the real thing happened when the ballad came, and it made sense because that's what I was all along, a ballad singer. I was always Russell knew I was a torch singer to begin with. He saw what I did with the big band. He saw what I did at Sweetwater's doing cabaret. He knew that, but he wanted to take that and harness it in such a way, because even though he became this pope of hip hop.
He's a big
The thing
R&B.
is, well, he grew up having basement parties like everybody else,
yeah.
listening to everything from Motown to
Makes sense.
Stax to, whatever our 70s was, you know what I mean? All
Yeah.
those great groups and singers that we had. He wanted to. He heard Gladys Knight before in his life, and he
Exactly.
wanted his own.
His own.
Gladys,
Oh,
Shaka, Patty.
yeah.
He wanted that, and that's what he saw in me.
Yeah.
And so that's how we did it. But it, like I said, it was a great ride, and it is the thing that has continually allowed me to still be in the game and be relevant.
Nice.
The challenges are the constant travel. You have to travel, and you know what that's like, and that can wear and tear on you. Most recently, over the last couple of years, I've become a brand ambassador for a school called the Vocal Workout Singing School that's located here in New York, as well as in L.A. And I think they have also a location in Las Vegas now. And we are global because we also teach via Skype, and those things are available.
Makes sense.
And I will tell you all how to reach out to the Vocal Workout.
Yeah, we'll
when
have
we're
a
done. Yeah.
in the episode to it.
Wonderful.
Definitely.
Yeah. So Miss Ilana Martin is the founder of it, and she has her own method that I have learned to teach. Unfortunately, I've been running around the country, so still pursuing my dream. So it makes it hard for me to take on students. But we do plan to do some master classes in 2020 that I'll make myself available
In
for.
New York?
In New York, yeah.
right.
And if they need me on the West Coast, I could do that too.
Let us know. I mean,
so-
I would love to come through.
Okay, absolutely.
Yeah.
But and the beauty of it is coming back into an educational fold at this point in my career. Not only does it give me a chance to give it's always going to be a combination. Her method is her method, and that is what we stick to. But my experience. And as an artist, being on the road and recording and doing and working with the people I've worked with is also another type of education that I can give to a student.
Yes,
And
the real life
the
education.
real life experience of it. And so that is that's what I feel so blessed to have been brought in, and it also brings me back to a place. Sometimes you get very not complacent, but very laid back. I'll say lackadaisical when I say to myself, because I know I can be lackadaisical.
What a word,
How about, right, lackadaisical, procrastinational, just plain lazy, couch potato,
okay.
all of those things. And those things throw you into a place where you may not practice as much, or you may not be consistent with your warm-ups. Now that I have the Vocal Workout in my pocket, and they got my and they're part of my support mechanism, I'm back to that thing that makes me more aware of what to do, what not to do, how to take care of it.
Please tell us.
Yeah,
So,
give us some tips.
Yes.
People always say, what do you take, for instance, when you find yourself hoarse? And I always tell people the first thing you have to know is that your vocal cords and that whole system down there is a muscle. And so it's just like any other muscle. You cannot overwork it. You will strain it. And the result is anything from laryngitis to hoarseness to the development of polyps and things of that nature. But if you take care of it and you rest it the right way, the only way you can get your voice back, I don't care what you take, I don't care, sometimes you might find yourself ill and you have to take something to get yourself through a show, and the only thing that gets it back to where it needs to be is rest. Just like anything else. It's like if you go to the gym and you rip it up, and you need to go and you need to rest.
Yes.
You'll get stronger, but you need to rest. So rest is
Recover.
another thing. And all the things that you would do to your body, because your body is your whole instrument. People think it just happens here.
Yeah.
Your resonation of your sound comes from the bottoms of your feet to the crown of your head. And we teach that in the Vocal Workout.
Okay.
It's a holistic approach to vocal
right.
training. That's the difference that sets us apart from everything else, is it's a holistic approach. And so keeping yourself hydrated, water, just like you would want to do for your health in anything.
In general,
You know what I'm
in
saying?
general.
Watching out for your environment and keeping yourself from what you want to. If I go to a club and I look at the piano and it's a dusty mess, I don't care how they feel about it, but somebody's gonna wipe it down. And if they don't, I'll find a paper towel because I know that there's dust everywhere. But if I can see it, then I know I'm breathing it, and that's going down in my throat and up in my nasal. All the things that I need to resonate can be. So you got to be conscious of these things.
Wow.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time. Sometimes we'll go to a venue and they'll have it all set up. They have water and towels, and they're really treating us well. And they put the towels on the floor next to the monitor. And I'm like, why would you put a towel that I got to put on my?
And most of the time they're white too, right?
No, they figured that out. They're black.
Okay.
They got black
All right.
towels
Yeah,
of different
with
colors.
black,
Okay.
You don't see as much dirt and makeup in the whole bit and the
the
dust,
lint,
lint and all of that. But they will put it right down there next to them, and I'm like, I got to put that on my face. I got to put that in my nose. You never think about that.
Oh wow! That's very true.
That's why I'm always asking for a table. But I ended up using the percussion table.
Yeah.
I put that on my resume now. Percussionist.
Oh,
I played percussion on a full.
Hey, you did.
The last time I played
mixed
percussion, I was with a rock band called the Gang of Four back in my early days, and I played. I think I had a triangle, a bell. I know I had a tambourine, but I told myself, you have to give me something to do besides sing background because I'm not going to stand back here and just sway from side to side.
Yeah.
So they had certain things in their music that required that, and so I've been a closet percussionist for quite some time, but I've now resurgence. I have a resurgence of my percussion
of
skills.
your egg playing and
I play a mean egg.
you sure do.
I can shake an egg, y'all. I'm an egg shaking chick.
Yeah. So,
Wait. What about your? How do you sustain your vocal cords healthy and
for me,
routine?
When I perform, I know that I like to have tea. I go with a tea called throat coat because throat coat has a lot of the herbs that govern the throat. So they're already in one bag. And I might augment that with something like
some honey.
honey. If I'm not a big honey person unless I just need honey and lemon straight on a spoon. If I'm really,
Oh, that's
honey and lemon.
Honey and lemon.
Like your parents used to give you when you were a kid.
Yeah,
It soothes the throat.
Yeah.
But that's it. I'll put a Ricola in there because that's a lozenge that I like.
Yeah.
That I'll melt it down in the tea. But what I do for my throat will always be predicated on just what's brought it on. Am I hoarse from a cold? Am I hoarse because I got wet and then gotten cold air? There are different levels of what you may feel and what you may have to do to sing over it and overcome it.
Yeah, prepare for it. Like,
exactly.
what's the preparation
I can't
around
miss
it?
the gig, so
Yeah.
I have to go ahead and figure out what do I need to bring it to a place where I can control it and use your technique.
Yeah, there is no calling out sick when you're the singer. It's not, hey, it's
just not.
Yeah.
So like I said, the herbs and what have you, and you can go online and find, all the different herbs that govern the throat and things like that. And
Throat coat.
But throat coat is a good place to start. That's what
Okay.
I like.
Yeah,
Throat coat and a
nice.
little Ricola. And I'm a very, like now there's throat coat with echinacea and there's throat coat
okay.
with lemon.
Yeah.
I don't care. Once I start with a product, just leave that. Just leave the
Okay,
throat.
yeah, that-
Ricola's got cherry flavor and a mint. Just give me the plain yellow bag, and that's what I'm
Yeah,
finding.
the
Every time they start
original.
adding stuff to it, it makes it a little scary for me. But that's just me.
Yeah.
Everybody will do what they want, and there are other things. There are other lozenges and stuff on the market that you might need. There's one called Fisherman's Friend, and it's really a licorice anisette kind of base in it, and it's real harsh and nasty, but it's good. It's good for your throat.
Okay.
Vocal zones. What is it? There's something called Singers Saving Grace. It's a spray that you spray on the back of the throat. It once again has a lot of herbs and made from tinctures and extracts of herbs that govern the throat and will give you relief. But most of the time, it's just a matter of keeping yourself rested, keeping yourself hydrated, keeping your throat wrapped up. Don't be willy-nilly. What we don't realize is that the technique that we learn for singers that keeps you able to do what you need to do for the long term, whether it's a show or over the course of your career, we don't practice those things when we speak. We just been sitting here, kiki, ha, 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 ha. Everything's up here, everything's and you're screeching and heeking and hacking, and we do that, and we don't realize we're still using that same voice. We're still using that same instrument, but we're not using the techniques that we do when we know we're before the mic about to perform.
Yeah.
So you have to be, give yourself time to bring it down. Like I said, rest, keep it hydrated, and don't do things that are going to be counterproductive to what you need. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
So we're not gonna have a whole bunch of smoking, and we're not gonna have a whole bunch of drinking. We're just gonna,
take care of
govern our gift. Govern the gift. It's almost like if you had someone gave me this analogy, Ron, if you had a thoroughbred racehorse, you wouldn't leave it outside and not brush it and make it drink vodka, you know what I'm saying? And not run it every day,
not exercise
and not exercise and stuff, and not throw some water on them. You would do that if you knew you had a thoroughbred, because you would keep him in the top condition so that he could run and do what he was gifted to do to the best level. Same thing with this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Treat it like it's a thoroughbred. It'll help, and you'll win every time.
Every time.
So, is there an everyday routine for you that you practice warm
there
up?
There's an everyday routine, but I don't do it every day. Okay. So I have to govern myself. It's something you work at. You don't take it for granted. But but the things that you do to help keep your whole body healthy and at peak are the same things that are going to affect your throat, because your body is your whole instrument. The whole body is the instrument.
Yeah.
So if I should rise early and get myself a little quiet time, meditation, prayer time, that's going to be good, because it's going to make everything relax and give everything a chance to come alive after having been at rest. And then I'm going to have a good meal. I'm going to eat things that are going to be good for me.
It helps, keeps away mucus.
Keep away mucus, and try to
cheese.
Not
into that.
They say that you should be watchful of dairy, but that's all. I find that to be to the individual. I used to have a doctor, Dr. Grabside, rest his soul. He used to come. You'd come to the office he's my ENT specialist, and he did all of the great opera singers and all of the Broadway people. They went to him, and he would say, what would we say? No red wine, no ice, no dairy, no orange juice, no chocolate. And that was the first thing he said. So there was no dairy, no orange juice, no red wine, no chocolate. I could get out of the milk chocolate, I guess.
Yes.
But for everybody, it's different. I can eat an ice cream cone and go and sing. I don't get mucus like that. But this is what I found out. I got on a plane going to the Umbria Jazz Festival 100 years ago, and I had to take a separate flight than everybody else. So by the time I got to town, the promoter had this beautiful spread. And you know how they take care of you. The table was from there to there, and just courses of food kept coming out. And every few spaces, there was a bottle of wine. So when I walked in, everybody said, "Hey, Alyson, we're glad you made it." They were about to do a toast. And so I just grabbed a glass, and somebody gave me some red wine. And I drank the red wine. And I went to my room with a whole carafe of hot water. Right at dinner, my voice said, And the doctor had told me no red wine. That's just something I can't do. But I learned by experience. And I would imagine the red wine over there, is kind of the best red wine you're going to have. So whatever is in the grape skin, the pectin, I don't know what it is. It's something in red wine that don't work good.
Don't work for you.
With me. It doesn't work good. And so
still doesn't?
No, I never saw you drink red wine. I never did.
What about white wine?
I can drink white wine. Yeah. I can drink a rosé. What is it? A white Zinfandel, which is pink. I don't know why. But remember when we got the wine? We got a 3-box wine.
Oh yeah.
We stopped somewhere on the road and we got a 3-box wine deal.
Yes.
And
we drank a lot of good wine together.
Even their wine that comes from the 7-Eleven over in Italy is fierce. So she was my taster.
Oh, yeah.
Partner.
Oh, my God. We did a lot of... That's our thing, actually. That's Fela and I thing.
Yeah,
We do a thing here in the show, but she's way over there making me sound way good over here. And then afterwards,
my friend a house thing, and then wine after the show.
that's our thing.
Me, her, and Patrice, we definitely have had our share.
We've done
So
our
yeah,
wine.
some
But
good wine.
yeah, so that's one thing I can tell you from experience, that red wine can be the enemy of the voice. For me, it proved to be.
Thank
I've
you.
seen
That's a
other
great
people
tip. That's
do
a
it,
great
and,
tip.
It's fine, but if you can avoid it, then and just like I said, if you keep this whole thing straight, then this is going to benefit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's going to benefit.
And so you're also working in radio as well?
I have a radio show that I do. Harlem, if you don't know, has its own radio station.
Oh, okay.
It's called WHCR, which is Harlem Community Radio. It is the FM band, 90.3 FM, and is the community radio arm for City College. They have a student-run college station on the AM, and then we are a full-fledged 24-hour community-based radio station with emergency ties and all that kind of stuff, broadcasting and what have you, and all types of music and all types of talk shows, from sports to community activists and health and wellness, and just everything is open.
Nice.
All kinds of music, from reggae to reggaeton to gospel to jazz to Latin to it's all broken down. And my show is called Love Notes with Alyson Williams in the Chill Zone.
In the chill zone. All right. Yeah, the quiet.
Chill
Okay,
zone.
quiet zone.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
Chill,
Quiet.
and it is homage to who was a good friend and obviously a veteran, Mr. Vaughn Harper, who was a veteran radio personality for so many years and came out of all that good radio with WBLS and Frankie Crocker back in the day when radio was radio. So I wanted something. I've come in contact and have been loved and mentored on by so many great people, Ken Spiderwebb, G. Keith Alexander, just a bunch of folks, Lenny Green, Jeff Fox, Shayla. I've come through a whole lot of great people in radio, and what they never knew is that I went to school for communications broadcasting, but I had gotten a full scholarship in dance. And so when I got to the school, I found out they didn't have broadcasting. They had journalism. Of course, at that time, I was not smart enough to realize, girl, just go with the journalism. It will lead you to the broadcasting. But I'm stubborn, I'm young, and I got a dance scholarship. So this is just my second major. And I'm like, I want what I want. So I was lucky enough to have a professor who said, listen, I know you don't want to be here. No, this is not what you signed up for. And then I was also very on edge because there was only one African-American dance instructor there at that time, and she decided she wanted to go back out on the road with the Alvin Ailey Company. So then I was left with other instructors who didn't necessarily support my African-American me when it came to classical dance. The good thing about it was Arthur Mitchell had already trained and told me that my body type was fine and I could dance any ballet I wanted to, if I wanted to. Firebird, Swan Lake, whatever bird you got. You know what I mean?
Whatever bird you got.
Whatever bird you got. You can dance it.
You can dance it.
But
okay.
I actually heard instructors say, well, you'll probably be good at with musical theater, but you'll never be a company member. In other words, I would never be at the Met. I would never be American Ballet. I said, well, that's not the information I have. So I tell you what, it's cool. I also had already been a working artist. I had a group with three friends of mine. Shout out to Fran J and Lisa Fisher. We had a group.
Lisa Fisher.
We had a group called New Rose. Yeah,
Lisa Fisher is.
Yeah.
Lisa sings with the Rolling Stones. Yes.
I've heard that name so many times.
Luther Vandross's music.
3 feet from stardom.
20 feet.
20 feet from stardom. Yeah, exactly. Wow.
20 or 50 feet.
I think 20 feet. Yeah.
So, I mean, and now she's out with her own thing, Grand Baton, and I know we're going to cross paths with her on one of these situation gigs.
Oh, yes.
But we, like I said, we had a group, and on the weekends we were gigging in clubs.
Whoa.
So I'm at Marymount
gracious.
going, look, what am I here for? I can't. This professor was so cool. He said, this is what we're going to do. You come to class, and at the end of the class, we're going to turn off the light and put up the shades, and you're going to sing. And the students can give you requests. And that's what we would do for the last 15 minutes of class, because he knew that's how he could get me there. So when somebody cares enough about you to alter, you know, the
for
class,
your passion
was a journalist
to
for
get you,
right.
Wow,
I've always
big.
had that kind of of support. And oddly enough, even when after I left Marymount, I went to City College. I had the head of the department came to me and said, "Listen, we think it's great that you're here, but when I see that your grades are you're waning or that your papers are not coming in on time, I go and I buy the Village Voice. The Village Voice used to cost money. It's free now." But he said, and I just kept turning the pages. Now it's gone. And he said, I keep turning the pages till I see your name. And then I understand you have a gig at McHale's. You're not really focused on this paper. And he said, listen, there are things that you can learn out there that we can't teach you in here. And there are things that we could teach you in here that you can't learn out there. Go out there, learn what you need to learn, come back, tell us all about it, and I promise they'll give you the piece of paper. So that's what I'm in the midst of doing now, is going back to get that piece of paper. And it's great. And it's great because I am full circle. I'm back on my campus. I'm back at City College. I'm back at City College, y'all.
Let's go.
On Tuesdays from 8 to 10 p.m., 90.3 FM, the Voice of Harlem.
Nice.
WHCR.
Let's be clear here.
Yes. I'm back on my campus.
Back on your campus doing your passion,
doing
what
my
you
passion
initially
that
wanted to
y'all
go for
told
anyway.
me to go do. So I've come home.
Nice.
I've come home, and I hope that I have amassed enough in my 30-some-odd years to since those college days to go ahead and take it to the next level. I had a really great situation happen with the situation because of the situation.
Yeah.
Every time we say situation now, it has a different meaning because we're in a band called Situation. Christian McBride has an incredible wife named Melissa Walker.
Yes.
And she is a singer in her own right. And it's so odd. You never know how people see you or envision you. She recommended me to be a guest lecturer at the Tisch School at NYU, the Clive Davis recorded music division. As a Professor Kahn that I had a chance to work with, he teaches a course called Topics in Recorded Music, Aretha Franklin. So just recently, when we finished at the Blue Note a couple of weeks ago, I was asked to prepare to go in and lecture college level, university level students on the music and the legacy of Aretha Franklin. And it was it's something I've always wanted to do. I've spoken to students before, but mostly young kids or school age kids, or kids who maybe not even in the industry or have any clue of music or going for music. Kids who need the idea or who need to be taught what this business really is about and the hard work that takes place and what this business really is about, that everybody's not going to be in front of the stage. There's a lot of really wonderful things that need to be done behind the scenes.
Indeed.
That make it so that the person can go out on stage. You know what I'm saying? So these are the types of things that I've been able to impart to students in the past, but now to go in with a specific curriculum, a specific topic of someone like Aretha and speak on it to 18 kids who were just like, they were in it. And we had an interactive portion of it where I got a couple of them to sing. And then I sang for them. It was really wonderful. So I look forward to doing more lectures. I look forward to a lecture tour. And especially to the historically black colleges. I'll be coming to you for sure.
Yes.
So
are they videotaping those or no?
I did have a friend of mine, shout out to Grayson Desnick for coming in and getting some video. I haven't seen the video yet because he had to run out of town, but some really great still shots and footage. Right. So we're putting a package together now so we can
I
talk to the students, and it always ends up in a performance, or so it's always we turn it up, so because that's what we come to do. So those are the things that are going on with me right now between Vocal Workout and Christian McBride and putting out my own music, the radio station. I have some other things that I'm doing outside of the industry in terms of. They entertain me, so I guess it's entertainment.
Yes,
I have a jewelry line that I'm doing. I just go like that.
Nice.
And I also have a card line that I'm doing, a note card. And they were inspired by my mentor, Dr. Maya Angelou, who taught me a song called God Put a Rainbow in the Clouds. God put a rainbow in the sky. So we have these rainbow in the cloud cards, and they are blank cards. They'll come 10 in a set in a beautiful packaging, and I'll tell you the story on a placard card of how I came to love clouds and the rainbow story and the whole bit that Dr. Angelo told me. And then the note in the card, let the note in the card be your rainbow, because we should always strive to be the rainbow in someone's cloud.
Wow.
Wow.
We should always strive to give people hope, to come with a smile, to
Yes.
be positive.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
it'll be blank. So your note can be, hi, how you doing? Thank you. Thinking about you. What you doing? Get it together. Whatever it is.
yeah.
Your note.
Hey.
And the cloud pictures are pictures that I've taken. And the beauty of it is I have such an awesome opportunity to take great pictures of clouds from various
countries.
well,
and
not
all
only
places
but
and
levels. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we're in the plains.
Yep.
Sometimes I'm
Oh,
on the
yeah.
street. Remember when we were in Multigenre again, and we went around the castle?
yeah.
And we were over this valley. We were up on
Castle.
it was a
Yeah.
castle, and this was one of the platforms of the castle. And then there was there were levels, and the castle sat at the top of this mountain. And then there was a valley that was straight. So we were able to get all of that expansive
Yeah.
sky. So these pictures of sky, sometimes I'm over on the water, so I have an incredible opportunity to get clouds from various perspectives.
Perspectives.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And some of them are just the
Nice.
sky. I actually have caught some actual rainbows. And some of them have a little cityscape or countryscape. I decided not to make them all cloud, but you might just catch a little farm. You might catch a little
Yeah.
highway. You might catch a bridge, but it's still the cloud.
Yeah.
And God put a rainbow in the cloud, and he put the rainbow in the cloud so that when it looked like the sun wasn't going to shine anymore, God put a rainbow in the sky. It's a Negro spiritual. And so he put the rainbow in the sky so people would have hope. And it's our obligation,
Wow.
what we should be trying to strive to do as human beings,
Okay.
is to be a rainbow in someone's cloud.
Wow. We gotta
That's
touch
deep.
base a little bit more on that. But you how much time did you spend with Maya Angelou?
A bunch.
Oh my
Not as much as I would have liked to, but
Yeah,
all of our
course.
play dates were incredible.
Oh wow!
I
Was
have
that the
such great
sugar
stories.
book? Like you got
No,
like,
at her house.
Oh, at her house too. Oh, geez.
Wait a minute, the New York houses, the
The
down in
North Carolina
houses.
Oh heck
Oh, no.
You got to spend time.
No. I got to have play
Oh,
dates
my
like
God.
auntie, grandmother,
Oh,
kind of
okay.
go in the closet and get this dress and bring it to me. And I want you to go in my jewelry bag and
Wow.
pick this out. I had some absolutely wonderful times that I hold so dearly.
Yes,
And
you must.
just
That's every word that woman says is like, oh man.
so imagine
You
what
just-
I'm gonna give you an idea.
you're
We're
like,
sitting around
wow.
the table, right? And doctor's here, and she's talking, and she might say water or something.
You're like,
She might, and you're already in awe. Then she'll just break out in song. And then you just want to melt off the chair because it's like, that she is about to use that song in a teaching manner or tell a great story about the origin of the song. And you don't get to do what we think we want to do and pull out a camera and do, you live in that moment and you take it in and you drink it in as the
Observe.
incredible
Human.
memory and opportunity that you can never get anywhere else.
Yeah.
And even that, you learn how to take into other places. If you've had the opportunity to sit with someone like a Dr. Maya Angelou or Nancy Wilson, who was also my mentor, or to be at the home of a James Baldwin, all of those things teach you
Wow.
how to govern yourself in any situation where you just need to calm down and live in the moment and let it wash over you. You don't have to take a picture of it. You don't have to try to tell somebody. You don't have to do that.
True.
You just have to bring it down.
I mean, they were such a connection to to Black heritage, from Martin Luther King to Malcolm X. I mean, that's just it was just
Listen,
that's like
I'll
that's
give you the
talking
best.
to history.
I'll give you the best.
So
I'll give you the best example.
Wow.
As people will always say, "Do you ever keep in touch with Russell? Do you get to go to the parties with Puffy? Do you blah 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 blah?" And these are all people we came up together. And the answer is yes, I do keep in touch with Russell. No, I've never been invited to Puffy's party, but it's okay.
Yeah.
We got stuff that's written in stone, and nobody can take it out of the archive. It's good.
yeah.
When Dr. Angelou was given her line of life lifestyle line, which was cards and table runners and bowls and all kinds of things and one chimes and dream catchers. She had all this whole line that she did. And I want to say the Life Mosaic. I can't remember the name of what it was called, but Hallmark gave her a line, and she gave her. They gave her a big party here in New York, but she gave herself a party at the Sugar Bar because, of course, George Faison. Shout out to George Faison and Ashford and Simpson, Valerie and Nick. All those have become my family and have embraced me, which is what led me to Doctor. So. She gives this party at the Sugar Bar and invites all her friends and all her good Judy girlfriends and all those other literary fabulous women and writers and men that that have been doing and that were there and marched the march. And I mean that as a blanket statement. They marched the march. And the band and I was singing. She asked me to be the musical component. So I was excited. I was like, Doctor asked me because she would call me her songbird. That was her name for me. When I would enter the room, I'd say, "Hi, Doctor." She'd go, "Songbird." She wouldn't look to me. She could hear it. She knew who it was. And that's what she called me. I digress. So the band was trying to figure out the next song. We had just finished a song, clap, clap, clap. And the band had, was doing something, and I was giving them that moment. And I happened to look up, and in front of me was Dr. Angelou, Betty Shabazz, Miss Tyson, and there was one more person. It was Dr. Angelou, Betty Shabazz, Miss Tyson, and one other incredible person whose name, but it didn't matter. What it was is that they were sitting there eating chicken with their fingers like people do and being quite so ever normal. And I was like, wait a minute. These are the dolls that want to hear me sing? Yes. Oh, I think it was probably like Dr. Janetta Cole's, Dr. Mims, because there's a bunch of doctor women. Dr. Mims. Yeah, they were all there coming out, for her celebration. And I was like, if this is the crew that supports me, I'm good. I'm good. I don't have to go to the Hamptons. Yeah. I don't have to do any of that. I don't have to go any of those, hyper vigilant folks places you got to be. Yeah, exactly. If it's going to end real quick and poorly. I just, but they were there and happy about it. I was like, my goodness.
Living their life.
And I said, and they wanted me. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. Yeah. And until this day, I still have, wonderful conversations with Miss Tyson. I'm still in touch with Dr. Janetta Cole and Dr. Mims and all of these women that I call Dr. Angelou the gift that keeps on giving, because even though she is no longer here physically, her spirit not only does embrace all of us and will continue to embrace them, but that personal side of it, anytime I need something or I'm looking for a way to figure something out, she has left something here as a clue or a person or a place that I can go and access what I need. And sometimes this might be inner strength. And so I can go back to her voice and her words and the things she personally poured into me. And I can make it. And I can make it.
Yes.
Wisdom.
Yeah, I can make it. I had a moment to reflect. My mother had an opportunity to have a career in song and dance and acting when she was younger, but she chose not to pursue it to raise her daughters. However, at one time she was a model as well as singing and dancing and acting, and she was a chaperone and a coach at a place called the Ophelia DeVore School of Charm and Etiquette. It was a black-owned charm school. Diane Carroll was a student there, and my mother was her chaperone and her coach. So when I think about it, my mother taught Diane Carroll, and then both of them taught me.
Yes.
So there's no way in the world I can't excel and go to greatness, because I had two queens teach me everything I need to know, and then ended up being ushered into the arms of other queens, like a doctor, like Dr. Angelo and Nancy Wilson and a Miss Tyson, Cicely Tyson. This is. I know my path and where I'm supposed to be going.
I saw Cicely Tyson like 3-4 years ago on Broadway.
Just walking down the street?
No. Actually, in a Broadway play.
No, I saw the show.
With James Earl Jones.
Oh my gosh, it was so incredible.
I mean, we're talking about a 3-hour play. It was called The Agreement, or something like The Porch, or something like that. But they did like a 3-hour play just straight through. They're both in their 90s.
Oh.
I mean, straight book play. Like all of that dialogue. I was like,
Never missed a beat and never missed a show.
What? I never missed a show. Are you kidding me? And I mean, and how she ended the play, like in the play, you know, she was like frail looking. And she ended the play straight back.
The show I saw her
out.
in,
It was amazing.
She was in another show that I think wasn't with James
the
Earl.
Gin Game.
The Gin Game, right.
That
she was in
the
another
name,
one,
yeah.
and I can't remember the name of it, but she was doing stuff on stage like this. Now, she was playing an older woman and what have you, but there was a scene where there was a couch, and she stood next to the couch, and then she just hopped onto the couch, like, you know, and I'm like, what are you hopping for? And she was just looking at us like, watch this. Pew! And she just hopped onto the, you know, jumped up in the air and just kind of laterally, horizontally popped onto the couch. I'm like, really, Miss Tyson? That's what you're going to do? Really?
I mean, come on.
Okay.
Like
all right.
those ladies.
Now you're just showing
off.
off.
All they've been there, done that. They're moving on. They just getting better with time. You know, just
rocking it hard.
Like a good wine.
hard. Actually, I just saw a picture of her too.
She was at Tyler's.
At the Tyler
Yeah, she was
Perry.
at Tyler, of course she was.
Oh, she went.
Yeah, actually, one of the buildings were named after her.
One of the
one of the 12.
one of the 12.
Makes sense.
Sound stage.
studios.
Yeah, sound.
Shout out to
studios.
Tyler Perry. What a wonderful thing.
Shout
Hey, listen,
out.
I'll see you across the table. I know we got some things to talk about. I know there's some songs you need sung and some words you need spoken, some scenes you need acting.
Exactly.
I'm your girl.
And we'll be opening up a actual sound studio that will, you know, rival, you know, a few of the things, or at least you can sing all your audio work to us.
I'm just saying. That's
So
it.
I'm just
saying.
you know, we just
just
going big. The Art of Music Tech, 23 DB Productions, 101. Yes, all of that. So yeah, I mean, Tyler just gives us all that. Inspiration and vision.
And I can speak.
You know, it doesn't matter where you're from.
No,
hey, he's at Kazakhstan. He's like, wow, he's like 12, you know.
Say where you're from again?
Kazakhstan.
I know exactly where that is. I have a friend named Diaz who's a singer, and he's going to be doing a show with me on October 25th. It's called Jazz in the Garden. His name is Dion. I can't pronounce his last name. I'm going to show it up.
Yeah.
But he's from
Kazakhstan.
So I'm very familiar with your country.
Oh, well, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever tried food?
Huh?
Have you ever tried food?
No, but I'm going to.
Okay. Yes, please.
I'm a foodie. I just want to know.
Please.
Oh,
yeah.
Just put it in front of me and tell me what it is. I'll go, all righty.
Yep.
But I can imagine it's wonderful. That's incredible. I have to give you the information because maybe you might want to come to the show.
Yeah.
And,
Yes.
and then you'll get to meet
Yes,
Diaz.
please.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Nice.
What I was about to say when you spoke about being inspired and in any way affiliated, I want to just tell your listeners and your podcast supporters that through working with you, and I've just met Dennis, but through working with you, seeing your setup, watching you roll, how you roll, doing what you do, and then let's throw on top of it you're a woman, and let's throw on top of it that you're black. So we got all those things going, but you know your craft so well. There wasn't a city or a town that we showed up in, and there were some times where everything wasn't everything. It became everything. Everything was always became everything. But when we hit the ground and got to the hotel, you had to boosh. You had to go poof. You didn't get to go always to the room and kick your shoes off or take a shower right then or whatever. You had to go and do what you do. And then you had to do it so that when we showed up, everything we needed was pretty much in place, if not in place. And I watched you do that consistency for 2.5 weeks, 14 to 18, 16 shows, whatever it was. And so if you're going to send some work somewhere, send it over here because it's going to be dealt with expediently and correctly and to the highest level of excellence. And I saw it for myself. I saw it for myself, so I can endorse you. I can endorse you. I can vouch for you.
Same here.
Yeah.
You brought it every night.
Well, I tried.
That the whole band brought it every night. You're just true professionals in what you do. No matter what happened during the day, you got to give people a great
we left
show.
It in the wings. We left it in the wings.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Alyson. This was amazing.
Yeah.
Just
I feel like we haven't talked about everything, but I feel like we covered so much.
You're gonna come back.
You can come back.
Right
Please
across
come
the
back.
river, baby.
Right.
You're in
boom.
Harlem. Right
I'm
in the
right
city.
there,
So we'll definitely do this again. We always say that. Everybody we have on, they're just so good. I just the Maya Angelou story, like whoo. Come on.
I know I was supposed to be giving tips about my life and how it is to be an artist, but that is...
no, you got to take... This is being an artist. It's
right,
being
exactly.
able to take that knowledge from other artists.
Exactly. And Dr. Angela was definitely
an artist.
She
danced, she sang everything.
acted, and those are the things that I've done.
Did.
And then I'm still trying to do. Television is film is my next realm that I want to really dive into. I've done a lot of theater on and off Broadway, and I'm just trying. As a matter of fact, I have an audition coming up. I won't say what it's for, but please keep me in your prayers.
Yes,
for
we
an
will.
incredible part that I would love to and be honored to play. What else? I'm just trying to figure out what I
want to also
said.
say that you have great diction.
Thank you.
Yes.
And I know that
give
is
that to my mother.
your
because
mother. I definitely
couldn't come in the
hear it.
house with it going. She says, "Do you know how much I pay and how hard I work to send you to school for you to come in here with some D's, those, and dems?" Because when you keep like, I was over there and I did this and that, did that, and damn, and it looked like, and she would go off.
Yeah.
And she was what do you call it when you can abuse somebody physically, mentally? She would just talk about it for so long. Too. It was like,
Oh, wow.
I wish she just beat me. I wish she just go ahead and
beat me.
you could be in your room, you could be banished to your room, and she'd be mopping the floor. I know you shouldn't come in here like this, blah, blah, blah. And she'd be talking to the cat about what I did and how disappointed she was. But and I got it, but she could always tell when I was either hanging with the wrong kids or when I just wasn't paying attention and I knew better. And so I was on the road back in 1997. 6, 7, right after Phyllis Hyman passed, who was a personal friend, there was a show produced called "Thank God the Beat Goes On," which takes from the title of a song by the Whispers, and the show was about the Whispers and how it was now 50 years, but how they were celebrating 40 years in the industry, and it was told from the eyes of the custodian at a theater that would have been like an Apollo or something like that. Any major venue like the Apollo in the country. So he's telling the story of the Whispers are scheduled to come in tonight and do this big concert, and they're celebrating 40 years in the industry, and da 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 da. And in the play, I play Phyllis Hyman, and they took from the pages of real life the night that they were about to do a show at the Apollo here in New York was the night she was supposed to be with them, and she decided to transition. By her own terms. So we were on the road with that show for about 2 years, and I remember the Whispers saying this. We had to always do radio to promote the show, and we'd go in the mornings, and they'd be like, "Alyson, you speak for us." I said, "What do you mean speak for you? Y'all know how to talk? You all been doing it.
The Whispers.
Y'all the Whispers. Y'all been Whispers since." Since there was things to be whispered. And it's like, "No, Alyson, but you just do it so well. And you just so, you just speak so well. And we're proud to have you. You answer the questions and we'll just chime in." So when I had, people like that who have been veterans in this industry say that, and then when we came to New York and they met my mother, they snatched her in the dressing room. I didn't see her for 30 minutes. But I'm just saying, they just loved on her and they talked about me and they told her how they really saw the hard work and whatever it was that she needed to do to raise me to be the woman I was at that time. And it just, I'm glad now that she came down on me about my diction because, it opens doors and it allows me to know that I can do voiceovers and I can do animated characters. I can speak and I can be on the radio and I can transfer to television and I can be on the stage and I can talk to my audiences whether I'm singing or acting or dancing or lecturing or motivational speaking and all these things that I do. I'm able to do it because somebody took the time to say, "No, you're going to get this and you're going to get it right."
Yes.
You're going to speak specifically. And I had all the kids, "Oh, you talk like a white person. Oh, you think you cute. Oh, why you using all those big words?" And they would let me have it. But that's because ignorance is bliss.
Yeah.
They don't realize
there's
that,
nothing.
You know.
Oh, no, I
it's gonna
appreciate
mean
it as
something.
an engineer, just the
Articulation.
separation and articulation of words. I try and do it myself, but I can hear it when it's just done very, very well. Like, it's done very well. And I'm like,
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes. Again, thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We're gonna have all the links.
We'll have all the links to where you
everything.
can
We
talk
talked about the school,
WHCR, the exactly the radio
radio.
station, how to find me, how to book
so what's
me.
the number?
Well, there is a
tell
number
me
if
your
you want to
number.
try to get in touch with my company. My company is AWP, A Woman's Prerogative, and under that umbrella, I am booked, and I have a production of all kinds of shows,
Nice.
and you can get me for a lecturer, you can get me as a mistress of ceremonies, you can get me as a host and all that. 631-604-8553. Again, 631-604-8553. So.
Okay, we'll have the number in the comment section.
We'll have all of that.
Yes.
And all the stuff. I'm on Facebook, Alyson Williams. You'll see a picture of me singing. I'm on Instagram, Alyson Williams Music. I'm on Twitter, Alyson the Diva. Someone else put that up for me. I don't know why they would say that. I hate that term. But anyway,
And you're not. So
and I'm
you're
not. I mean, why wouldn't you just give me something?
I've been on the road with you
you
for 2 weeks. I know a diva by now. Yeah, that was.
I'm like
diva,
the anti-diva. So anyway, those are the places. AlysonWilliamsMusic.com is up and coming in my as my website. But I'm trying to get it. I want all the bells and whistles to be in place, so I don't have to keep snatching down, putting up. So just give me a minute. But please support, and when you see me and you know I'm coming or whatever the case may be, reach out, holla.
Yes.
And the more I continue to grow, I'll come back and keep you all posted.
Please do.
Please
Absolutely.
All right.
It's all about the art of music tech.
Yes.
And that's it.
That's it.
All right. That's it for the show. Thank you for listening. We're on Apple, Spotify, all the good stuff, all the great stuff. We're also on Facebook, IG, under One of One Productions, and under 23DB Productions. You can see more audio tips and tricks and all of that sort of thing, and get in touch with either me or Dennis. Thank you so much again for listening.
Alyson,
this
thank
is a
you so
goodbye
much.
from
Thank you for having
with
me. I can't wait
Alyson.
to come back with more stuff and
please.
more tech stuff. I got more tech stuff, but we got all sidetracked in the
Get
love
the
fest.
Yeah. So goodbye from Alyson, Dennis, and myself, Fela. Thank you for listening to the Art of Music Tech podcast. Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
For more information of booking 23DB Productions, visit their website at 23dbproductions.com. Like and follow 23DB Productions at Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter for the latest work.